Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of The Wolverine. This movie is directed by James Mangold. He's directed one of my favorite movies, 3:10 to Yuma, as well as Identity and Night and Day. This movie stars Hugh Jackman. This solo Wolverine movie takes place after X-Men The Last Stand. We know this because Wolverine is having nightmares of a certain character and a certain thing he had to do in that movie. And so Wolverine is just a wanderer. He's lost, trying to discover himself and just find his place in the world. Well, he gets found and given an invitation to meet this old Japanese guy named Yoshida. And so he meets up with him, and this man tells him that because you saved my life during World War II when I was a young soldier, I'm going to grant you something you've always wanted: mortality. When I first heard they were doing a Wolverine movie, I was excited because I was like, okay, they're going to learn from their mistakes from X-Men Origins Wolverine, and they're going to make this new movie dark and serious, and it's going to be good because it's going to focus solely on Wolverine. And if you have not read this story, Wolverine by Frank Miller and Chris Claremont, I definitely recommend it because it's what this movie is loosely based on. So I was excited for this movie, and I finally saw it. And it was okay, it was enjoyable, but it was different. It was different in the sense that it didn't feel like a Wolverine movie. And when I say that, I mean, look at the other films featuring Wolverine. It was filled with mutants and people with other abilities, you know. You didn't have just Wolverine to carry this whole movie. And during the movie, I felt kind of out of place, like I was just dropped into the middle of the story that I should have learned more backstory of, because it starts out with him having a dream. It turns into a nightmare. And then he wakes up, and Wolverine is just lost and wandering in the woods, and then he gets introduced to Japan. And I kind of just felt out of place because there's really no plot in this movie. It was just Wolverine in Japan, and then things start happening, and he rescues someone, and then it's just his adventure and him trying to survive. There really wasn't any flow to the movie, and it kind of dragged, which was also a downer. And unfortunately, besides Wolverine, you don't care about any of the side characters. Sure, there's a woman that Wolverine tags along with through the majority of the movie that you start to like, but even the first girl he meets, Yukio with the red hair, or the villain chick, or even the guy that's a ninja with the bow and arrow, they're not on screen long enough, and there's no backstory for you to really say, oh my gosh, I hope that character doesn't die because I'm starting to feel for them. You don't care about them. Even the boss fight was a little predictable. Now, let me go on to the special effects. Special effects in this movie were really good. I thought they were, leaps and bounds better than X-Men Origins Wolverine as far as his claws go and everything. And I liked even his injuries, like because he was mortal in the movie, when he got injured and he took off his shirt and, examined himself, you could really tell, yeah, he's messed up. Now, don't get me wrong, there were action sequences in this movie, and they were cool to look at, but unfortunately none of them were exciting because they were either too short or they were a little silly. For instance, if you haven't seen the trailer, there's a scene on top of a bullet train, which was cool, because you get to see Wolverine go, ah, and have his claws shoot out, but other than that, it just was like, that's cool, Hugh Jackman getting mad for a couple seconds, and then the fight's over, and that was it. The character of Wolverine worked in this movie. It was the characters that he met and the plot around him that I thought could have been done better. Now, if you're a fan of the calm, preserved Wolverine like we saw in the X-Men movies where he was learning who he was and where he came from, elements of that are in this movie, but then again, if you like the animalistic, wild, claws out, slicing through guys Wolverine, that's in there as well. So I would say Wolverine is right on par with Iron Man 2. I don't think this is his best movie, but I don't think it's his worst movie. It's just a different take on him. So because of that, I'm going to give the Wolverine a C+. And make sure whatever you do, stay during the credits. It was by far the best part of the movie for me. So until next time, guys, see ya.